Hi everyone, Kirsten here from Happy Little Quilt Shop in Imlay City, Michigan. I'm going to show you how to load your first design on the Janome Continental M17. Let me bring you in closer. Little bit of movie magic with a tripod here. This is the primary screen on our M17. We can access sewing application mode, and embroidery from this screen, and you access this screen, if it's not up, from the home button. We are going to do embroidery today, so we want to select embroidery mode, and one of the first things we want to do is change from our standard shank to our embroidery foot, which is the P foot. You also have a laser foot with this machine, and you can attach that one as well. So we're just going to loosen that screw and disconnect that standard shank. We are going to connect our P foot, and the thing you have to be careful about with this P foot is you want to, let me zoom in here so that you guys can see this. Oops, wrong direction. There we go. So when you are attaching this P foot, you actually need to make sure to slip it up over the needle first, and then you can maneuver it, and you might have to loosen that screw a little bit more, maneuver it to connect it. And then I hold it with 2 fingers and tighten that screw finger tight initially, and then I take my screwdriver and give it an extra little tighten. You don't want it too tight, but you also don't want it to, from just the vibration of the machine, to vibrate itself loose. So step 1 there. Actually, step 1 is we should always make sure to change our needle first, which I know this needle was changed recently, so I'm not going to worry about it. We are then going to get our hoop, and you probably will already have an idea of what type of design, what size design you want to use. I know that I'm going to use one of the smaller designs, so I'm going to hoop, in this case, a piece of tearaway and a piece of solid cotton fabric from Art Gallery. They're some of my favorite solids. We have the hoop frame below, our stabilizer and fabric, and then we're going to insert that hoop frame insert. Now you'll notice I loosened this lever here in order to be able to put the insert into, let me back you guys out a little bit again here. Here we go. So I've got the hoop frame, whoops. We've got the hoop frame, our fabric and stabilizer, that hoop frame insert. I'm going to push that in, and then that lever on the outside of your hoop, we want it open when we're putting our insert in, but then we want to close it down. And you do have a couple options here. So you have half, which just loosens it a little bit, or you have full. So I will take it to half. I'll kind of just double check everything, make sure everything's nice and tight in there, not too tight. The general rule of thumb used to be drum tight. That has changed a little bit. Now we say just shy of drum tight. So I'll kind of pull everything, adjust it, make sure it's all settled in there, and then I'll push that lever fully in. Now, I said I want to use the small hoop and pull a design for the small hoop. You can do this a couple ways. So you have access to the built-in designs here in a couple different spots. Let me get you guys zoomed in here so you can see what I'm up to. So the first spot that you have access to the built-in designs is this little flower here. So we can click that. Every single design built into the machine is accessible from here. What I like to do though, if I know the specific hoop size that I'm going to be using, I like to use this button right here, which will separate the designs out by hoop size. So we know that this hoop from the markings on it is the RE20D. It's a 5.5 by 7.9 inch hoop. We find RE20D on our screen, select it, and then all of these designs are going to fit in to our RE20D hoop. And in this case, there's 14 pages of them. So we have lots of choices that will fit in this hoop. It's wonderful that all of these designs are built in. So we're going to go back to that very first page. Whoops. And we're going to pick the heart. This would look adorable on a cocktail napkin. And the machine is going to let us know that we need to make sure there's nothing sitting. Zoom you guys out. There's nothing sitting over here because this whole arm is going to move. And not only do we need to make sure there's nothing sitting over here, we also need to make sure that there's nothing behind the machine either, or in front of it. Anything that this arm would bump into, we want to make sure is out of the way. So I've got a nice clear area, and I'm going to tell the machine that yes, it can move. I'm going to let it move to the centering position, and now I'm going to connect my hoop. So I'm going to push that fabric and stabilizer under, make sure my foot is up and that I've got plenty of clearance. And then you've got your connector here. Let me zoom you guys in again. Oops. So we've got our connector here that is built into the hoop, and this is where it actually connects to the machine. And we're going to slide it in, and then I take my thumb and give it that final push, and you will hear it click in. Now, if for some reason we had to remove this hoop from the machine before we start sewing, you have a lever here. We click that up, it pops out, and then we can slide the hoop out. And again, we always want to make sure that we have clearance from that foot. So I use my thumb, I push it in. I do have a bobbin in here already, but let's thread the machine now. We'll zoom out here. I've got Halloween threads here because we were getting ready to work on a Halloween project, but it will work just as well for this. So we want to make sure that we are threading correctly. We want to use the numbers as our guide that do not have a background. So we go 1, 2, and I like to two-hand this, 3, 4, up for 5, catch that hook at its highest peak at 6. Behind, I call this Big Mama's pigtail, and then I can zoom you guys back in here. So we've got Big Mama's pigtail up here, we've got baby pigtail down here, and sometimes at this point it can help to put that foot down, and it puts a little bit of tension on everything. We go in what I call the Pac-Man mouth, and then up and off to the side, pull it towards you. That thread cutter on the side of your machine will cut your thread. Now, we are almost ready to thread the machine. We do need to, if we back out here again, we do need to lock the machine. So we want to hit the key to lock the machine, and from here, we're going to select our needle threader. It's going to thread. Oftentimes I find I do get a little loop, and that's just fine. I'll just give it a little tug, and then I'm going to hit my key to unlock the machine. The machine will not thread itself unless it's locked. We are ready to start embroidering. So I've got my design, and over here you can see a lot of information about this design. Let me zoom in here for you guys so you can see this. So you've got your design, of course. It's telling us double check that we've got that RE20D hoop. Remember, it's embossed right on the hoop. It's recommending the P foot. Yep, we've got the P foot. This is a 5.1 by 4.7 inch design. It's a one color design. It's going to take care of our tension for us. It's going to auto cut our threads. We currently have the machine set to max speed, and max speed for this design is going to be at its fastest. So it doesn't mean the whole design is going to stitch that fast, but at its fastest, there will be parts of this design that will stitch out at 1200 stitches per minute. At that speed, it's going to take us 35 minutes to stitch this out. Again, here's that one color. They're recommending Janome thread number 2. We are using Glide. I really love Glide. I think it's an excellent thread for embroidery and for sewing. So we're using Glide. It has a nice high sheen. Currently, we're at stitch 0 because we're at the beginning of just over 16,000 stitches. We could advance through the design down here, or by selecting this button, we could skip ahead to, say, stitch 570 if we knew that's where we needed to pick up. You have several options below. In this particular case, we shouldn't need any of these. I feel confident it's going to fit just fine in this hoop, and we're not placing it specifically anywhere in the hoop. So we are ready to go. Let me back you guys back out here. There we go, our beautiful machine in view, and we are ready to hit our start stop button. And the machine's gonna take off running. And there you have it. You've got everything you need to stitch out your first design on your Janome Continental M17. Thank you so much for joining me.